Okay, here's a video on mental health for men that are struggling with anxiety and they want to build more confidence and self-esteem. So this video is not planned, by the way. This is actually, these are my favorite videos. It's a little bit more challenging for me because some videos, I know what I'm going to talk about. I kind of go over in my head. I don't ever script the videos. This video, I know what I'm going to talk about, but I still have to go in my head and think a bit, so it's good to challenge myself. So it might be a bit awkward, but I like being awkward when I know that I'm going to help people and I'm going to keep growing. It's fun and exciting, and usually it never really is, it's just in your own head. So obviously a struggle that I see that a lot of men have, and I had it really bad when I was younger, like it took me a long time to improve it, is they let their pride get in the way, they let their ego get in the way in regards to being able to admit that they need help or that they have insecurities and fears. And this is, I know I'm jumping tangents, right? But I noticed this pattern a few years ago and I was excited and I wanted to share it, and it inspired me, it helped me to help my clients and myself. Many successful people I've noticed, you know, the ones that go on these podcast shows or they have their own podcast show, or not just people with podcast shows on YouTube, like just people from all different walks of life that have come from a struggling place, maybe mental health, anxiety, fear, poverty. They've been through challenges and then they've faced the fears and they've become really successful in their life. And that can be in different ways, right? I've noticed a pattern in these people, right? And I guess I've noticed it in myself, which is a very good thing I've come to realize later on, is that they're not scared to be vulnerable. Or they're scared, but they do it anyway. They're not scared to be honest about their issues, their struggles, whether that's issues that they used to have in their past, which they've addressed, or issues that are ongoing. And there's something so refreshing about that. Like, how refreshing, be honest guys, right? Let's try and put a little bit of ego aside. How refreshing is it when you speak to another man, or you see another man, or you see a guy, and he's honest. He's not trying to be a tough guy. He's not trying to put on an act and try and intimidate and come from that very insecure place. He's just honest. He's completely transparent and just says, look, I got insecurities in this area. It makes you feel better about your struggles. But a lot of guys, they're at a point in their life where they're really struggling evidently, and they're not happy with themselves, and they've got low self-esteem, and obviously their mental health is challenging them, and their fears and their anxieties, and they're struggling in many areas, but like they can't admit it. Like if they were in a coaching group or just to themselves or with even to family or anybody, they can't just say, do you know what? I'm suffering with anxiety. I'm struggling with social anxiety, or I'm suffering with depression, or I'm not feeling confident in myself. I'm not feeling attractive, or I'm struggling with money. Whatever the struggle is, or I don't believe in myself, you know, because I got bullied at school and I doubt myself, and they can't do that. And I understand it, because I was like that when I was younger. I didn't really trust people. I wouldn't tell anyone. I felt like if I tell another man or people, men and women, if I tell them that I've got issues, I've got anxiety problems and I've got self-esteem problems, they're going to use it against me. Like they're going to have power over me, because they're going to know that I've got vulnerabilities, and if I admit that, and if they don't admit that they've got vulnerabilities, it's like they're getting ahead of me. They can control me, they can harm me. But obviously there's some logic in that, but I later realised that that really doesn't have to be the truth, that nobody can control me if I don't let them, and if I build my self-esteem up, and I face these things and I'm honest about them, and I stop caring. See, it comes down to caring about what people think more than you do. And it can really feel scary. It can be hard for guys. I've seen two types of behaviours, which is great. I can talk about from myself and clients, and I've met so many different guys. And I've seen guys who they're just like so open. It really is beautiful. They're open about their struggles. They don't really care. They just say it. They're just frank. There's no beating around the bush, and they grow. They do so well. They do so much better in life. And I'm not just saying people that take my coaching, even though they do. Guys that will go and get coaching from someone else, or they'll just go out and take action, or they're just so honest. They don't really care. They've got to that point where it's almost like, if you're going to judge me, I don't care. Like, you can see that they feel good about having given themselves that permission to be free socially. And it's not to second guess and go, oh, if I say that, they're going to think that about me if I say that. So when you do that, I used to do it, believe me, the pain that you've got to live with, you're in agony underneath, regardless of the mask that you put on and what you try to let everybody see. And we all go through that. I'm not knocking anyone. I did it when I was younger, right? And there's times where I still sometimes catch myself going to do that, right? But I've got way better at it now. And that's why when I want to share my story, I've got to be honest with people. I can't just talk about, the success that I've achieved now or in the past, or just the good bits about me, because I won't feel good about myself inside. That voice will be saying, but you ain't telling them about the bad bits, about your struggles, about your ongoing struggles, about your insecurities, So I try and tell the whole picture. And I know how much I get inspired from other men when they don't bullshit me about their issues. Like, they don't just talk about, oh, I made all this money, or I'm this confident guy, I've got all this, whatever success. They tell you the full account. And usually what I found is, I'm not saying in all cases, in most cases, what really moves people and changes their life is when another man admits to another man his deepest insecurities, because that gives you permission to feel like, I'm not on my own, I don't have to feel ashamed. Because if Johnny Berba's had all these struggles, and I still have my struggles, of course, then it's okay for me to admit mine. If we all cut the bullshit and stop playing these games, we'd all relieve each other of our pain, and we could be honest and real, and then we could go on and achieve our dreams. Now, I'm not giving it the big one, but I've gone on and achieved my dreams. I'm trying to help you to achieve yours. Obviously, I've got new goals now, but I've gone through this process. But I will say this, look, it's easy. So sometimes I'm guilty of this as well, and people do it. When you've gone through that, and you've grown beyond that, when you've gone through a stage of stopping bottling up and protecting yourself, and you've gone and you can be more honest, it's quite easy to then be a bit judgmental of other people that are not. But sometimes you've got to remember how hard it is for people, because I know how hard it was for me. If someone tried to give me advice, I wouldn't like it unless it was my dad, or it was someone that I really liked. But generally, if another man tried to give me advice on life, I'd probably get upset and angry, or feel disrespected, or I just would be defensive and deny or dismiss the advice. But I had to go through a lot of suffering and growing up and mental health challenges to realise when to take the advice and not be offended, and see that, this person's got my best interest at heart. They're not trying to disrespect me or get one over on me. So, you can grow more, because really what this comes down to, it's not just about you telling me what your problems are to be stronger and get more respect for the next man or guys. This is for you. This is you being honest with you, getting it out. And this is really the best part of therapy. Therapy is about having the courage to admit what you're struggling with. Then you can So it's not like, I think a lot of guys get in this mindset, this is what the ego can do. It can be horrible sometimes. If I tell people I'm struggling financially, I'm going to be stuck in that struggle forever. I'll never get beyond it. I'll always be that person. But no, it's not true. Or if I tell people, a lot of guys will be embarrassed to say they've never had a girlfriend before, they've never had a relationship because of their anxiety. They think if they admit that, they're doomed for life, but it's not. It's the opposite. If you admit that you've got a struggle financially, or with getting a girlfriend, or anxiety, or any struggle, fitness, discipline, an addiction to porn, whatever it is, that's the first step to overcoming it. So let's just say, okay, in 2022, you've got struggles, you admit them. If you admit them, you own them, and you can be vulnerable. In 2023, you can overcome them. Then you can tell the story of how you used to have a struggle, and now you don't have it no more. But if you don't admit it, in my experience, what happens? It just gets worse. And you're going to save face. And what I mean by saving face is that, when you're around people, you might protect yourself from that little bit of awkwardness or embarrassment, whatever comes up for you. Everyone's different. Because, okay, you're in your mind, you're like, I'm protecting myself. I'm not telling that person about what I'm going through. I'm going to put on a brave face and lie. Okay, so they might think that you don't have these problems, or whatever they're going to think, right? We can't always know. But when you go away, you can't lie to yourself, because you're with yourself 24 hours of the day. You've got to go to bed. So it's better. I'm not saying just meet someone and tell them every issue you've got, but just gradually start opening up more, and then you can get help. And like I said before, I never force any of my clients to open up. I give them space. If they want to, they can. They can trust me. It's up to them. But the ones usually that will be more open, they always go on and succeed more, and they make more improvements with their confidence, and they reduce their anxiety, social life. And I saw this on my journey. That was my biggest challenge on my journey. It wasn't other people, although I used to think it was me. It was part of me. It was my ego, my pride. I found it very hard to let go and be vulnerable and to trust, because I cared what people thought about me too much. I cared what my friends thought. Because I got judged at school. We all get judged at school. We all get bullied at some point. We get laughed at. We've got to grow beyond that. We've got to stop caring. And when you can care less, you're being more authentic. That's become a cliche now, but it's true. But it does, look, I'm not going to lie, right? It's still not completely emotionally comfortable for me when I do these videos. I started talking about my issues. Part of me would rather not. I'd rather talk about my good bits. But it does get easier over time, and it does benefit you and other people. So I wanted to speak on that. So mental health problems will get worse for men, all of us, me included, if we keep bottling up our problems, whatever they are, our financial problems, right? Or, discipline or relationships or loneliness or mental health or negative thoughts or feeling down or suicide. If we keep bottling these up in the name of, I don't want to be a weak man, I want to be strong, we're going to get ill. Mental health, it's going to just get worse. But if we can take confidence and we can take some, self-respect and a bit more trust with others, or stop caring what they think, and we can be honest about what we're going through, we can overcome it. We can't overcome problems if we just bottle them up and we keep running from them. It's going to get worse. Problems don't get worse by running from them. Problems get better by admitting them and then facing them. So admitting the problem is not going to put you in a situation where, now people can... No, they can't do that. That's a human fear. That's a phobia. They can't do that if you don't allow them to. And the more confidence you have, you don't care what people think. So I wanted to speak on that. It's really important. And I'm seeing on my Fearless event, and again, I don't tell people, everyone's free. They've got their own permission. I'm seeing guys open up, and they're feeling better after. They're smiling. You can see the relief. You can see that stress and strain leaving their face. And I see it myself. I speak from experience, right? So we do this one day at a time, guys. It's a journey. It isn't about trying to do it all in one go, because that's going to just be it's going to kill you. Not literally, but it's going to be exhausting. So you do it as it gets easier and easier, and then you start gaining the confidence. When you gain the confidence, you don't care what people think, because you're confident in yourself. Your opinion matters more to you than what other people think, and they're not being accountable like you are. But let's be honest, there's a lot of good people out there. A lot of times people don't judge you. I get people writing on my videos saying, you're an inspiration, right? And I'm not looking for that. But they say, you changed my life, or I can't believe that you're this honest. I've never met anyone like that. And I've said that, people that inspire me. Someone like David Goggins, I'm in my head, I'm saying, thank you, man. This man's changed my life. I can't believe he's admitted that. I struggle with that. I couldn't admit that. Now he's admitting it, I can admit it. He's overcome it, I can overcome it. So why don't we help each other and be strong men and be kind and be better, instead of being enemies, working against each other, and this judging, it's childish. It's silly, I don't want to admit that because he's stronger than me. No, that's not confident. Confidence is when you can be happy for other people, right? That's a better way of going about it. Anyway, that's about as much as I can speak on today, all right? Fearless.